Okay, I'm going to attempt to explain again how this argument about the channel on Mars is going to work. So first off, you're going to need open your GeoM reasoning tool, which is from week 9. So under week 9, the very last activity we did should be your reasoning tool. And then you're also going to need to have open your argument about the channel on Mars slides, and those are posted under week 10. So make sure you have both of those documents open. Pause the video here if you need to take a second to get to your Google Classroom and open those documents. Once you have those documents open, we're going to take a look at the argument about the channel on Mars slides first, and then I'll talk to you about how you can use the reasoning tool to help you. So first off, I want to touch again on slide 1, which is your rubric. Remember, I said my hope for all of you is you're focused on the A to B range. The key difference between the A and the B is a B uses only one piece of evidence to support your claim, while an A uses two pieces of evidence. Everything else is the same. So whether you want an A or a B, you need to include a claim, you need to include evidence, you need to explain the evidence that you include the reasoning statement, and you need to include the conclusion. So no matter if you're aiming for the A or the B, you need those 5 things in your CER, your scientific argument, in order to earn an A or a B. The only difference is how many pieces of evidence you include. That's your rubric. Here is your sentence stems, or here are your sentence stems. So remember, we said on slide 2, you have the claim, and I left it blank because you're writing your own claim statement. Remember, we talked about no matter how you write your claim statement, you're arguing for flowing water forming the channel. No matter how you write your claim statement, if you want to use fancy language or simple language, you are arguing that flowing water created the channel. So make sure that flowing water is a part of your claim. Then you have the sentence frames for your evidence, and you have 2 sentence frames. They're the pieces in red. The evidence that supports this claim is, and this evidence supports my claim because. In just a second, I'll show you how you can use the reasoning tool to help you fill in those sentence frames. But for now, let's just focus on the frames. You have 2 frames for each piece of evidence. So if I'm aiming for an A, I need to use all 4 of these sentence frames because I'm going to include 2 pieces of evidence. If I'm aiming for a B, I need to include 2 of these sentence frames because I'm only including 1 piece of evidence. So how many sentence frames you use from here depends on how many pieces of evidence you choose to use in your writing. Your reasoning statement and your conclusion statement are in black because you're not writing them. They're given to you. Your only job is to copy and paste them from slide 2 onto slide 3. Whether you use 1 piece of evidence or 2, you're just using 1 reasoning and 1 conclusion because the reasoning is the same for both pieces of evidence. So if you use 2 pieces of evidence, you don't have to state the reasoning twice. I know that's different than ELA. If you do state it twice, I won't mark you down, but you don't need to. You can give both pieces of evidence and then the reasoning 1 time because the reasoning is the same no matter which evidence you're talking about. Okay, third slide. This is where you write your CER. So for example, if I'm going to begin my CER, I need to use the stems on slide 2. The claim wasn't given to me. I need to write it myself. I'm going to keep it really simple. I think that the channel on Mars was formed by flowing water. That's my claim. Same claim that you have on the top of every slide on your reasoning tool. Okay? You can use that claim word for word if you want. You do not have to come up with anything different. If you want to come up with a fancier way to say that claim, you're welcome to, but feel free to steal that claim directly from me. Then after my claim, I'm going to have my evidence statements. So I'm just going to copy and paste these 2 sentence frames directly from slide 2 onto slide 3, and I'm going to fill them in. The evidence that supports this claim is, and then I'm going to start writing. When you choose your evidence, you want to use your reasoning tool to help you. This is where your reasoning tool comes in. So on your reasoning tool, if you're like, I really think evidence card A and F were the 2 best pieces of evidence, then those are the 2 pieces or the 2 slides that you want to use from your reasoning tool. So let's say I'm going to start with evidence card A. If I start with evidence card A, I'm going to take a look at how I finished this sentence frame. On this evidence card, you can see. And if you remember from filling out this frame together, or if you just look at your own copy of the reasoning tool, we did this slide as a whole class. We said on this evidence card, you can see landforms on Earth created by flowing water. You can use that second piece of the sentence frame on your argument. Let me show you how perfectly this second piece fits into my argument. So I'm going to copy what I have here and paste it here. Now I might need to do a little wordsmithing so it makes sense, but let's read it. The evidence that supports this claim is landforms on Earth created by flowing water. So I can't just say any landforms. I need to make it a little more specific, but I could add in just a few words to wordsmith this, and I would have a sentence that makes perfect sense. The evidence that supports this claim is the images of landforms on Earth created by flowing water. Done. I copied and pasted directly from my reasoning tool to help me describe the evidence. Remember, this first sentence is just describing the evidence. This first sentence is just describing the evidence, and then I just added in a few words to make it make sense. Now this part, this evidence supports my claim because that's going to come from this second sentence here. So I'm not going to wordsmith that for you right now because I don't want this video to go on forever. But I need you to know that when you go to write your second sentence and explain your evidence, that comes from this second sentence on your evidence card, okay, where you talk about what's similar between the picture and the channel. You're going to write your CER statement on this slide here. So again, you have your claim, you have your evidence, you'll have your second set of evidence statements if you want to include two pieces of evidence to earn that A, which my hope is that's your goal. And then you'll directly copy and paste the reasoning and conclusion statement onto your slide. Even though it's a copy and paste, so you're not writing it on your own, it's still part of your grade. So you're going to want to make sure that you get that reasoning and conclusion statement onto your paragraph, your scientific argument writing, okay? Now the last slide is the rubric again, and you'll notice it says teacher evaluation. Please do not mark up this slide. This is where your teacher will give you feedback. After you have finished your writing, you'll go back to the first rubric, and your only job on the rubric after you're done is to highlight where you think you fall on the rubric. So if you used two pieces of evidence and you believe you did a good job of explaining each of those pieces of evidence, you included your claim, you included the reasoning, and you included the conclusion, you can highlight all of these bullet points in section A to tell me you're evaluating yourself and you believe you fell in the A range. I will do the evaluation on the fourth slide. After watching this video, if you still have questions, use the Ask for Help button in your breakout room, and I will come to your breakout room and I will do my best to explain this to you again or answer your specific questions. If you don't have any questions, get yourself started.